Hello and welcome to Six
Hello.
Degrees of Feature Film. I am Ernesto de la Cruz, also known as Bran, also known as Miss Movies.
And I am Dante, the dog,
Yes, Dante.
also known as Stacey Howard. Am I your spirit guide animal in this
Oh, okay,
podcast
okay.
realm?
Good.
Am
Yes,
I the
you're
same
the
to you in
rainbow
life?
bird
Yeah, I'm the
or
rainbow.
whatever that is.
It's
Dragon?
like a
Bird?
lion
I don't
puma. It's
know.
like a puma bird. Dragon
Chimera?
puma.
I have no idea what it
No
is.
idea. No clue.
Anyways,
What's the show? What do we do? What are we talking about?
this show is Six Degrees of Feature Film. Hey, hi, how are you?
Hi.
We're going to take one film and show how six of the films link up to it in some random way, shape, or form. But before we do that, let's talk about what we've been up to. What have you been up to? I
Oh
feel like I
gosh,
haven't seen you in
nothing. I've
forever.
just been trying to get through the holidays. It's busy season
Hmm.
at work, so it's pretty
Yes,
stressful.
I
It's
believe
pretty
it because you work
stressful.
in retail,
I do as a store manager, which is in itself stressful, but also add on top of that, that's the busiest season of the year
right?
for Christmas shopping.
Yeah,
And
everyone is everywhere
yeah, everyone's everywhere. Everyone's doing everything and needs everything and needs it
right
like
now.
this now, ma'am. So I'm like, okay.
Yay,
So
always
that's been
fun.
fun. Trying to get through it, but I am getting through it. And I'm
Hmm.
going to have my Christmas day off, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, the day of Christmas is the only day of the year our store is closed. And
Okay.
I will watch movies all day.
Well, that
That's
sounds
what
like a
I'm doing.
plan.
Yes.
That sounds
Uh
like a
huh.
plan. You're welcome to come over here if you'd like.
Oh,
Um, we won't be doing much,
okay.
but my son will probably be. Oh, I shouldn't say what he's going to be doing because what if he hears this? Because
Oh,
sometimes he does see things on YouTube and he'll be like, "I know I'm getting that now."
oh. See,
So he'll be playing with some
we
toys.
can't talk about it. Toy
Yeah,
set, trains,
not a
trains.
toy
Okay.
set, but a toy
I
that he's
want a
looking
train
forward to.
set. What are you
I
gonna
have
get
a
me for
few.
Christmas?
My love. That's what I'm getting you.
That's what we
Um,
get when we're adults is love for each other.
Exactly. Also, today I'm going to be on Action Movie Anatomy talking
Nice.
about Enemy of the State. So I'm looking forward to that. Want to say hey to Elise and Andrew who are in the chat right now. So thanks for joining
Yo.
us. Thanks for joining us. Um, I'm really tired. I think
Me
it's
too.
because December is crazy. I feel like there's been a lot of birthday celebrations. My daughter had her birthday party.
I
I made all
saw.
those gingerbread houses. The
Jen
kids,
helped you.
she did. She helped
Mhm.
me construct. What I did is I cut them because they were made out of graham crackers. Why Honey Maid does not just like come out with a line of already pre-cut graham crackers so that kids can make graham cracker gingerbread houses. I really don't understand that,
I
but
don't
they
know.
need to be doing that. I feel like I've been doing this for over 10 years now in terms of
Mhm.
like doing this each year where I like saw off like
Mhm.
it's really hard to do. It takes a lot of time. But I basically cut all the pieces and then she like constructed it with hot
Mhm.
glue. So all the kids could not like eat their gingerbread
They
houses.
just had to, they
They
just
could
could
lick them.
decorate it.
Yeah,
Okay, and
if they
lick. Did they
decorate and
indeed
lick.
lick the houses?
Some people licked them. I
Oh.
don't know. You know, kids got to get their sugar. But
Yeah, that's true.
it was insane. I did the best that I could. I did
You
the
did
best that
great,
I could.
soldier.
And
Um
then her actual birthday was yesterday. So I
oh.
feel like the celebrations have just continued. And we went to Disneyland on Monday. It's just
Oh
been, this is a
wow.
long,
It's
nonstop,
a long time.
nonstop.
That's a long celebration,
It is.
especially for kids, because then they think like, "Oh, it's me time. Like
Me
I'm the
time.
center of this story,"
Hmm.
and you're like,
Next year, birthday's going to happen on birthday. Birthday party on birthday is what
"Yeah,
I feel like needs to
yes,
happen. Even if
yes."
it's a Wednesday, it's like, okay, I can just come over to my house, all that good stuff.
Mm.
That's what I'm doing.
We've commented today that we have these like fancy water glasses, and
They're fancy.
I wanted to put like whiskey or like liquor in them and drink in the afternoon like a senator,
Hmm.
but
But we don't have
like
that.
imagine like a
But
really cool
cheers.
amber crystal,
It would look nice, wouldn't it?
you know? Yeah.
All right, so let's get going
But here we are.
with our feature film today. Our feature film is Coco, which
Coco.
just came out. Um, I'm assuming we're going to be spoiling this. I mean, it came out November 21st, so we're almost at a month out.
I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll spoil it.
If you have not seen Coco and you would like to see Coco, come back in about 10 minutes or less.
Yeah, 10 minutes or
Probably,
less.
probably
Less than 10.
we'll do a
Props.
nice little wave for
Yeah,
you if you
we'll
want to
do a
mute it,
wave. We'll do
and then
a
you'll know.
yeah. You'll
That's
know.
how you'll. That's how
You'll
you'll know.
know.
That's
That's
how
how you'll
you'll
know
know.
he's your guy.
All right.
Okay.
Love that we break into song.
From a
That's
totally different musical.
yeah, another Disney film, but different
Yes,
musical, also known
different
as
musical.
Enchanted. Anyways, Coco came out November 21st, 2017, and it is about an aspiring musician whose name is Miguel,
Miguel.
who is part of, his family's like no music. They don't
Mhm.
want music in their house, and he has to hide that he likes music.
Mhm.
Anyways, he enters into the land of the dead somehow one night on Dia de los Muertos
Mhm.
to find his great great grandfather, a legendary singer.
Mhm.
That's the overall
It's the
synopsis.
gist. Yeah.
Exactly. This is directed by Lee Unkrich. Unkrich is what I'm
Mhm.
going to say. He also directed Toy Story 3 and he also co-directed Toy Story 2. The
Cool.
co-director on this is Adrian Molina. They also wrote this as well, starring Anthony Gonzalez, Gail Garcia Bernal, Benjamin Bratt, and Renee Victor, as well as some other friends and family.
My mom loves Benjamin Bratt, by the way.
I mean,
I mean,
who doesn't?
I love him, but I feel like moms love him because he's
Moms
like,
love him more. Well,
yeah,
he's closer to their age.
he's a little
That's
older.
probably
Is he
like
almost 50?
I
Maybe.
don't know his exact age. I would guess he's in his 50s.
Like
Someone, please,
early,
if
like
you're in the
50
chat,
or
let us know how old
49,
Benjamin
maybe.
Bratt is. I remember noticing him for the first time, like being like, "That's a good-looking man."
Hmm.
In the River Wild. Have you seen the River
I
Wild?
haven't, but I do remember Miss Congeniality.
Okay, Miss Congeniality, also a good one.
Yes. I also remember he dated Julia Roberts for a while, and in her Oscar acceptance speech, she thanked him. And I was like, oh, that's the guy from Miss Congeniality. And I was like, she
Mm-hmm.
landed him. Good job, Julia.
Elise says he is
53.
53.
I
Let's see,
knew
we're
it.
good. We're good.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Early
he's a little
50s.
bit on the younger side for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not your mom. They're
He's
probably
like a
closer.
mature hottie.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
he's not like a Ryan Reynolds or Gosling.
hmm
Like, he's not in his 30s. Like, he's in his 50s. He's a hot, mature hottie. He's up there with George Clooney, I would say.
hmm
George
Sure.
is 55 or something, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, okay, enough about Benjamin Bratt. Let's get into
Moving
Coco.
back on.
My favorite part of this film has to be the literal ways they interpret the land of the dead and
Okay.
how like the little security system they have and how you have to get in and out and scan your
Yes,
face. The
I love that their
facial
technology
recognition.
is super old as
Yeah.
well, and I think it's because all of that technology is dead now.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
like
dead.
dead technology goes to them.
Yeah.
Like once technology dies, they get it
They
now
have
and they
all
can
the
use
iPhone 5s
it.
in the world. I love that. It's great.
Ah.
I love literal interpretations of metaphorical
hmm
or religious
In
thinkings.
a
I
way, it
don't know how
kind
to
of
phrase that.
reminds me of Beetlejuice. Like the
Yeah.
processing, you have to go through this process, and you probably have a caseworker and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it kind
They
of
had
reminds me a little bit
caseworkers.
of
Hmm.
Beetlejuice in a sense. Um, what I liked about this movie is one of the things that I thought, hearing about the movie, and it's like, oh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna cry, you're gonna cry, you're gonna cry, and it's like when that moment arrives, you're like, I see the moment, it's coming. It's
Hmm.
going to be here soon. I know exactly how it's going to play out, and it plays out exactly how you think it's going to play out. And you're
Yep.
just like, oh, why did you do that? And then I'm like shaking.
Mhm. I cried a big old to be more in ghost tears.
Oh,
You know, when you
oh.
sit there silently and you just let it fall and it feels like hot little rivers just going
hmm
down your face. I love that feeling.
I love that feeling too. Now, I
Hmm.
went to see this movie with a neighbor and her daughter. Her
Hmm.
daughter is the same age as my daughter, so my
Hmm.
daughter was there as well. And coming out of this, two different kid reactions.
Oh.
My daughter cried and loved the movie.
Hmm.
The other girl was like, two thumbs down. This was awful. And
What?
I was like,
What a little cynic. Wait,
well,
what did she say?
well.
Why? Why did
I
she
think she
hate
was
it?
bored. I don't know. Maybe she likes more action in her.
Well, she's
She's more of a
racist.
minion lover.
Hmm.
hmm
So a simpleton then. And I, an
I mean,
intellectual.
I like Minions. My kids like Minions, but like,
Mm,
if she were to choose, like, am I going to watch this again or Minions? I bet she'd probably choose Minions.
probably. No,
I don't know.
we're just kidding. Not to bash children.
No.
Um, because I love children. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting to see little kids' reactions to things because
right.
I don't have any kids and I'm not around kids, so I
hmm
automatically assume they're gonna love anything animated you put in front of them. but they do have opinions, and
They
they
do.
can be critical and say, I don't like that, or I wasn't entertained by this. But how did like, was she like, that was boring, or she was like, I don't like it, and you just assumed that she thought it was boring? Like, what did she say?
No, she just said that was bad. 2 thumbs down. That's it. That was
Ah,
her review. Like I didn't want to
that's all you need.
I didn't want to say, so what didn't you like about it? You know, I didn't
Right.
and
Let's
then
get into
and
the
then Waverly is
nitty
just
gritty.
like, I love that movie. I love Coco. Coco's so good. And when we went to Disneyland, she wanted to buy like a doll that was like Miguel in his
Oh,
Day of the Dead outfit that he wears in the Land of the Dead. But I she only had $20 to spend, so she couldn't buy it. Sorry. It was like
you're the parent that
26.
does the budget.
I didn't do that. That was Nana, but I was like, I'm not buying you anything. So
Oh, okay, okay,
this is
okay.
all Nana.
I remember budgets when I was little.
Mhm.
Now, Olivia, that's my middle name. That's why my family calls me. You have $15 to spend. Do you want to spend it on a nice gift for your friend? No, I want to spend it for myself. I'm going to get a candy. I'm going to get this unicorn thing. I'm going to get it for me. I want this.
Yes.
Yes, but your friend has a birthday coming up and you want to say, no. I like the thing with the poop and the thing and the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it goes. That's how it goes for most children.
Yep.
Um,
We're all assholes.
Did you see like the kind of twist story coming with
Not at all.
I didn't either. I thought Ernesto de la Cruz was going to end up being his great grandfather, which is what you're led to believe. And then with it being, I did think it was a little convenient that the first person he meets in the Land of the Dead is someone that is related to him.
Yeah.
Who,
but that was like,
but
that's
he didn't
movie
know.
fate.
Yes,
right
of
there
course,
for
movie
you.
fate. I'm like, of course, this is what's going to happen.
So what really happened was a man who was helping him out, he had played with Ernesto. He was his grandfather,
Right.
not Ernesto. I did not see that coming. But I'm trying to think back to how all of it worked out, because whenever he got into the Land of the Dead and he's talking to his now dead family about, oh, well, I could just go see my great grandfather Ernesto. Why didn't they stop him and be like, no, Ernesto wasn't your grandfather. What are you talking about? It's someone named Hector. Or did they
I don't
even
think he
say
said that. I don't think he said like I need to find my great grandfather. I don't. Yeah, but I do feel like.
But he mentioned him because the grandma was like, we don't talk about that musician.
Yeah.
So
well, because she knew that he had worked with him, right? So maybe that's why.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm
Like-
trying to like think of how they did it to where it was a whole mistaken identity thing. Like if I rewatch it, then I'll get it. But
Right.
after the reveal, I'm like, oh wait, how did they disguise that again? Like I'm trying to think of.
I do like the twist that they present a few twists. I do like the twist that they present where it was like there is someone dying within the Land of the Dead, and it's like, well, this isn't the final. This isn't our final resting place,
Right.
Like
That's
we're gonna
just like the holding
we're gonna
tank.
move on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in purgatory. Apparently, purgatory is pretty great.
Yeah.
It seems
They
like
got
that's what it
concerts,
is.
They got Frida Kahlo. By the way, I loved that Frida Kahlo was in this movie. I was like, yes, because I love Frida, Salma Hayek's like interpretation of her, and I know she was a great artist and very important for the history and culture of Mexico and how she portrayed it and everything. But I love that movie because that's kind of all I know of Frida Kahlo, and so seeing this now as a different interpretation, I was like, I was so fascinated by it, and I thought she did a great job, and she was super funny, like the way that they did it. So
they did do it great. I
very
do
happy.
Also really appreciate the concert and the performance and the dress rehearsal for the performance and like what everything is going to look like when it
fire everything on fire.
Like, here are the little bugs coming out. I'm like, okay,
but it looks like me. It's great.
Amazing.
Because all of her paintings were like that too. They were all of her. I loved it.
I did want to say something that I thought was interesting when I was reading the trivia, and maybe you came across this as well, where Disney tried to trademark or copyright the phrase Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
And
bad move, Disney.
They tried to trademark that, apparently, for merchandising purposes. And so
you can't trademark a holiday.
The Mexican American community in the United States was like, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be doing that. There was like a big upheaval about it. It's like, you're going to trademark our culture, Disney, not okay. And so then Disney came out and was like, it's not that we want to trademark the actual words. It's that we just want to trademark this particular thing for this movie. And I was just, and then they're like, so we're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just call
well,
it Coco. There you
that's
go.
why they changed it to Coco because
Yeah.
apparently it wasn't supposed to be named Coco
Yeah.
originally.
Because in another country,
Oh, yeah.
in Portuguese is
That's a
apparently
bad
curse
word. I don't know what curse word it is.
I don't know what it means.
So they had to change the name of the movie
to
in
like
Brazil.
Viva or something.
Viva. Yeah, or Vive.
Vive.
I don't know.
maybe?
I gotta look that up again.
Which
I
is
don't know
life
again.
or death? I don't know.
Viva. You're right.
Viva.
Yes.
Okay.
Haha.
That's funny. That's ironic. Yeah, that's who I wonder why these things happened. Who was in a room with 15 people and they're trying to think of something and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to trademark like someone's very important cultural event and day
Right.
and celebration." Yeah, that's ours now. Like who thought that that was okay?
You know, fools,
Oh
obviously.
god.
But here's the fact that it gets so far is like the public knows and are like, no, 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 we gotta. This is not okay.
Mhm.
Then
Then they change it.
that's
So
kind
there
of
you go.
crazy that it gets that far.
Right. To where they're like,
So when
"Okay,
it's in
well,
like a boardroom meeting or whatever, and we're trying to figure this out, okay.
Mhm.
But beyond that, no.
Yeah.
When you actually go to the steps.
Yeah.
Um, what else did I want to say about Coco? I mean, I love that Michael Giacchino did the music for this, and this is like he is to Pixar what John Williams is to Steven Spielberg.
Sure.
Like I think this is his sixth time that he's composed for them. They have like 21 films or 19 full length animated feature films. So, and I think he's done the most. I could be wrong on that.
I bet you're right. I bet you're right. I really
knows?
liked the music. I walked out singing "Remember Me" in like a teary voice.
I know it's a good song.
It is. It is. It's a beautiful little song.
Um,
And
I also did. You have the Frozen short before yours? You probably didn't.
no,
Did
they
you
took it
have a
out.
short?
I got to the theater a little late.
Okay, so no.
I got there like right before the movie started because you guys said there was a Frozen short, so I was like, oh, I can be late. I'm gonna get some coffee, find
Yes.
look for better parking. Like I knew I could take my time.
So apparently the Frozen short, which is not a short, it's 20 minutes long. I consider that not short. But the Frozen short was really supposed to be intended for a limited amount of time, and I don't know exactly like if it was supposed to be just a month or whatever. But in Mexico, within the first like 2 weeks, it was pulled because people complained so much. They were like, "Get this out of here. We cannot handle this." And I understand that because from a parenting point of view, I knew going into it, I know a lot of things in terms of like going to the movies with my kids. I know how long the previews are, especially at our local theater, because they show 3 previews every single time. It's always 3 previews. So I know when those will end. And then I know if I'm going to a Pixar, there's going to be a short before. So I know I have about 8 to 10 minutes, depending, like before the actual movie is going to start. This is really important to know with my son because he can only handle about a 90-minute film. So if a film is over 90 minutes, which Cars 3 was, I was like, I have to arrive when Cars 3 starts. Otherwise, he's going to be like, I want to leave, and he'll like make a scene, and it's like, well, we have to leave. There's no way I can stay here with this child that's like screaming.
Yeah.
So or I'd be like, let's go
Parenthood
get more
sounds
popcorn.
lovely.
Like I'm gonna save the day. Like you have to have your snacks and everything in order. So with Frozen, like I knew I didn't take my son. I was like, I cannot take my son to see Coco. First of all, it's too long already. It's longer than Cars 3. And there's a 20-minute Frozen short. So because I did all that research, I knew when exactly the movie was gonna start. And I was like, I asked our neighbor, do you want to see this? This is how long it is. And this is how long the movie is. It's gonna be over 2 hours, with our kids in the theater. She's like, yeah, let's see it. And so I thought, okay. And I prepared my daughter, like, this is going to be a long thing. So, it's not just going to be a little thing and we get into the movie. So she was prepared to watch something long, and she likes Frozen. So that wasn't a big deal for her. But there are kids that don't like Frozen or like, come on, let's get to this movie.
Not everyone is a slave to Elsa, you guys. I mean, I like Frozen. I don't love it.
Right. Me too.
I don't live it.
Anyways, let's close it up on Coco.
Okay.
Any last final thoughts?
I think it is nice when they portray other cultures and
absolutely
religious events or beliefs, however spiritual they
Mm-hmm.
are in films. So I thought that that was great that they did this and took a lot of time to do it because they were
It
in
did.
production since like 2011, I want to say.
Nice.
So good for them. They got it right, I feel.
I want to see something on Chinese New Year. I think they
Yeah.
could do something cool with that
Yeah.
because
I
that's
want
a
to see that too.
really. Have you ever been to a Chinese New Year parade?
I haven't. And I
They're
didn't really
amazing.
know a lot about Dia de Muertos, which is what they call it
Mm-hmm.
in Mexico, not
Mm-hmm.
Dia de los Muertos. I think they just call it Dia de Muertos
Okay.
or something like that. But yeah, I learned a lot about that through this film because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really know anything as an outsider. So yeah, I would love to see more films about other cultures and
And
their
events.
events and their traditions. That was beautiful.
I agree. I
Okay.
agree. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take it from Coco and we're going to link it to standalone
Oh wait, we gotta
Pixar film.
wave
Oh, yeah, we're done with
because we're done
Coco.
with Coco. Okay.
So we're going to link it to standalone Pixar films.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is there is no sequel, there is no franchise, there's very minimal merchandising, I'm sure. Actually, yours might have a lot of merchandising. But anyways,
Maybe.
standalone Pixar films.
All right.
Would you
Okay.
like to go first?
Sure. So
Okay.
I went with Inside Out,
Yeah.
which was very personal to me because my dad has a degree in child psychology.
Okay.
And so I connected with him and chatted with him a lot about this film and how it talks
Mhm.
about, youth development and how you handle emotions and, personal crises or developing. So I really liked that. Okay, here
Yes.
we go. Inside Out. It came out 2015. After young Riley is uprooted from her Midwest life and moved to San Francisco, her emotions, joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness conflict on how best to navigate a new city, house, and school. So all of us go through these, trying times as a
Mhm.
young
Oh, we
person.
do.
I moved around a lot, not just cities but houses as well for my dad's job when he was in like the beginning stages. To build your career, you kind of have to
Mhm.
move around for what he does. So yeah, I had a lot of
What
those.
does he do?
So he, if you're not familiar with the 4-H program, which most people are not unless you grew up in it, it's a youth development program. It's mainly based in agriculture. It started 100 years ago with like farmers' children. And anytime anyone is like, I showed my pig at the county fair.
Mhm.
Usually that's what it is you do FFA or 4-H for that. Now it has since developed into something much larger. And past the agricultural program, they have science, they have performing arts,
Oh,
they have
cool.
food industry things. So all these kids join this program and learn how do all these projects and get judged on them and you practice how to kind of be an adult. You have like you can get scholarships through it, which is how I paid for school. You can do practice interviews on how to make a resume and get a job, and basically it's a youth development program that's
And
developed a lot from what it started as, which was just like livestock.
what are the 4 H's?
Head, heart, hands, and health.
Oh, that's
So it's
nice.
I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my health to better living, and my hands to better service for my club, my community, my country, and my world. Oh my gosh, I haven't said that thing in years, and I
Aw.
just remembered it.
So your dad was like
So my
one
dad
of
is
the
one of the people. So
people
he was
that's in charge
yeah,
of
he was a
4-H.
county agent. So you start off
Okay.
small in the county, and
Mhm.
you have to move around to lots of different counties to build your way up, and then you eventually get to the state office, which the state office of every state is always where the land grant university is. And
Mhm.
each state has a land grant university, which is like something set up in the 1800s. And our land grant university of Texas is Texas A&M, where I went to school. So I did 4-H. I got a big scholarship, and I went to the school that it's associated with.
There you go.
So there you go.
I love it.
Anyway, I forgot everything that I was talking about because I went
Okay,
into
so
that.
your dad,
So
you
my
move
dad did
around a
that and
lot, so
moved
you
around.
kind of relate to Riley because
Yeah,
she's moving to a new place.
because of her dad's job.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
So I did that a lot growing up, and I connected a lot with how she was feeling. And I'm
Mhm.
a very emotional person. I was an emotional child. I was very difficult. My parents will tell you. And they like to joke that I'm like, the dramatic one. But
Yes.
I remember just trying to get a sense of and trying to kind of like control my emotions and figure out who I was. And it
Mhm.
felt a lot like this movie. So
Interesting.
I really connected with Riley and the entire story of it. So I thought it was beautiful.
This movie, this is one where my child had like could. This is where I learned about how I need to time movies
Mm-hmm.
and and how I need to do certain things in order to keep my child through the movie
Mhm.
to the entire end because I want to see it too. So this was a situation of we got there too early,
Mhm.
and this was a theater that's not our local theater, so they show like 20 minutes of previews, so
Mhm.
it's like 6 previews or
Mhm.
whatever.
Oh man.
And then there was like the volcano short that came before it. I
Oh
don't remember what it
yeah.
was called. And then we're in the first act, the popcorn's gone or whatever,
Mhm.
we're like really not even anywhere near the second act at all. It's
Mhm.
like very beginning of the movie, and she's just like, "I'm done. I want to leave. I hate this. We're leaving now." And it's just like, okay, I can't.
What is
I
she?
gotta
Does she
go.
literally say like, "I don't want to be here"? Like she just
Yes.
starts like fidgeting. Like
No,
how?
she's like, I want to go now. I don't like this. We're leaving. Okay. Well, I guess we're leaving. Luckily, like I didn't know at that time that if you leave a movie during the first act, like you can get your money back. Like I didn't
Mhm.
realize you could do that,
Mhm.
but now I know. So I was just
Now
like,
you know.
I guess we'll just cut our losses. Bye. This happened to me with this movie, with that movie, the live action Cinderella. Like,
Oh, I loved that movie.
so
I would
these
be
are
really upset if
I was
I
just
was
like,
that
I
parent.
want to see these movies, but we ended up buying Inside Out. She they both of my kids kind of like it. They don't love it. It's not like something
Mm.
they want to keep watching. I think it's because they're still a little too young.
Yeah,
But
they haven't been through the shit yet to
right.
know.
So when I watch it, I'm watching it with them, and I've seen it a variety of times, but at different parts. I don't know if I've sat down and watched the entire from beginning to end.
Mhm.
But I know I've seen the whole film, if that makes sense,
Mhm.
in little bits. Um, I don't really like it as much as everyone else does, and I don't know if that's because I have such like a fond memories of leaving the theater and like feeling frustrated that my child's just had enough,
Mhm.
or I have no idea. I didn't feel sadness about Bing Bong. Like I just didn't feel
Oh,
it. I didn't feel it.
I felt an intense amount of sadness about Bing Bong.
Okay.
I take her to the moon for me. I was like, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Bing Bong is Riley's imaginary friend that she has since forgotten, and he's kind of floating around in her subconscious, basically,
Yes.
and is not in the forefront like the other emotions.
Hmm.
And it's really sad what happens to him. I'll go through the scene. I guess they're trying to
Sure.
like go through memories or something, and they're stuck in there, and they need to
The
use
forgotten
the forgotten
memories.
memories. They need to use his imagination cart to like get out of there. And so they're singing the song and trying to get out of there, but he weighs too much, and so he then sacrifices himself, and Joy shoots off in his cart. He stays behind and is like, "Take her to the moon for me." And then you're like, "Oh, Big Bong!" And I totally lost it in the theater. Totally lost it.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw this on the Disney lot with my friend who works for
Oh.
Disney. So yeah. Oh, I'm fancy sometimes. You guys, I'm fancy. So yeah, that was very emotional for me
Hmm.
because I think that's my greatest fear is like being excluded or being forgotten and alone.
Hmm.
So seeing that, it was like it's like a example of like the my worst nightmare of like what I don't want to happen to me.
Aw.
So don't forget me, everyone.
Remember
Remember
me.
me. Yeah, there
I'll
you go.
remember you.
Okay, that was Inside Out.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That was Inside Out.
There was some cool trivia on that.
Yeah,
If
you
I
want to
can
give us a
find a
few
good one.
before we go on?
Yeah. So the writers came up with 27 different emotions, but they settled on the main 5. And some of the major emotions that ended up being cut were surprise, pride, and trust. So
Hmm.
I don't know how. Like I feel like disgust was random. I was like, that's such a random emotion to be
Sure.
the main one.
Yeah.
You know?
But as a little kid and as a teenager,
Yeah,
yeah, it's there.
I
It
guess
could have
so.
gone away for a while and then came back,
Mm,
like, well, here I am again because now you're entering your teenage years.
Or like in the teenage years, is there more emotions that come about? Like
Oh, gotta be.
hormones. There's like a little
Yeah.
a little
There
like
you go. Oh,
sexy.
man, that's not going to work for this film.
Oh, the funniest laugh I've had at a film in a while is when they go into the brain of the boy that meets Riley and it's like, girl, girl, and like an alarm's going off. I laughed so hard at that. And
Uh,
then
or the mom and the dad ones,
the
where it's
mom,
like,
yeah,
what does she mean? What does
yeah.
she mean?
What are you talking about? Who's doing what? Oh God,
Were we supposed to
it's
pick up
bring
on
up
something?
yeah, and it's like all sports is playing in his head. It's kind of a stereotype, but it's also a funny stereotype. So I was into it. One of the moms
Ah,
said was like, he's not paying attention again. This is just like that argument in Toledo or whatever. I
yes,
need to
those are
rewatch.
good parts.
Those
Good
are
parts.
very
That's
funny.
definitely something I relate to.
Hmm.
Something.
There
There's
was
something going on
one more.
outside, but
I
I
don't
can't
know.
really hear what it is. But there's an interesting sound.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
They did reuse some of the toddler aged Riley. They reused the little girl's dialogue from Monsters Inc.
oh,
Boo. Mary Gibbs was her name. So they reused some of her
I
stuff
hope
to
she
do
got a
toddler
nice
Riley.
fat paycheck for
Yeah, she better have. Yeah,
that.
I hope she's
Let's
making
set
it.
you up, Mary, for college, unless you're an adult who I don't know. I mean, you
She's
could be a
probably in
kid.
college now.
Who
Yeah,
knows? I don't know how old she was when she did it.
I don't know.
Let's move on to our other standalone Pixar
Okay,
film, which is Ratatouille, which came out
Ratatouille.
June 29th, 2007. It's about a rat who can cook and makes an unusual alliance with a young kitchen worker at a famous restaurant. Directed and written by Brad Bird and co-directed by Jan Pinkava, starring Patton Oswalt, Ian Holm, Lou Romano, Janine Garofalo, Peter O'Toole. Oh, it keeps going. Brad Garrett, Brian Dennehy, Peter Sohn. Sohn. I don't know.
So sure.
Sure. The budget was 150 million and made 620.7 million at the box office. That's pretty insane.
It's pretty good.
Um, this won Best Animated Feature and was nominated for Best Screenplay, Best Sound Mixing, Sound Editing, and Original Score. So there you have it. I The thing about this movie is it was really hard for them to tie in certain marketing to it because it's like no one wants to associate a rat and food.
Oh yeah, none
Which
of the
makes
like
a
big
lot of
food
sense.
people.
They're like, I don't know if I really want to
Yeah,
go to
they're
a
like,
restaurant that's called Remy's or whatever. You know,
Mhm.
like I don't know how they're going to tie that into merchandising. Plus, rats in general.
yeah,
Are you going to
rats
really want
aren't the
most
aren't the
lovable?
cutest and most lovable. I do like that they kept pet rats at the studio to
Yes.
like see
Watch
their
what they're
movements.
doing. Do their
Imagine being like,
movements.
"Oh, I'm going to work today. There's gonna be a bunch of rats running around in the
I hope they
hallways."
did that for that movie Willard. Did you ever see that?
Is that the one with Crispin Glover?
Yes.
Oh, I can't. That's like my worst
That is
nightmare.
a worst nightmare.
A bunch of wasn't he like he controlled the rats or what was it?
Yeah, it's something like that. Oh, I don't even want to. He's like the Pied Piper.
Oh god.
But in France, this is the film that broke the most records for the biggest debut of an animated film.
That's funny.
I was like, of course. Well, it's set in France. Of course, that would happen. And Anthony Bourdain loves the way that famous. Do you know Anthony Bourdain?
I do.
Okay,
yeah,
he talks
yeah,
about
yeah.
food.
Yeah.
He's
He like travels the world and does crazy things.
There was
right?
a television show based on him called Kitchen something. Kitchen Confidential was based on him, on his book that he wrote. Bradley Cooper played his character. Bonnie Somerville was in this show as well. It was good. It was only on for like a season. Yeah, it was one season.
Bradley Cooper?
Yes.
I thought Bradley Cooper
Super
was
good.
in that movie Burnt. Was that?
I think he was in that too. That may have also been about Anthony Bourdain. I never saw it, but that may have also been. Anyways, Kitchen Confidential is a pretty good show. But anyways, Anthony Bourdain likes this movie a lot because he likes certain elements that are. He's like someone who cooks. Wrote this movie or helped with some of the details in this movie. He's like, you see on like a chef, there's like pink burn marks on his arm. He's like, you only know that if you work in an actual restaurant.
Because you get.
He's like, these are the little things like that are why he loves this movie. They paid attention to the details, which I feel like Pixar does a lot.
They do. They also have the money to do that. To hire people to be like, hey, you're an expert in this thing.
Rats.
Let's pay you $100,000 and come over here and be our, consultant on this movie.
I also like, this is something that's just random that I just find fascinating. But the character is Augusta Gusteau, which is played by Brad Garrett, who's like the, kind of the ghost or whatever. That name is an anagram.
Oh, what's it an anagram for?
Gusteau and Augusta
Oh,
are
oh, okay, okay.
anagram of each other.
Oh,
You know,
okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like things like that.
There you go.
And now I'm like, what is my name an anagram of? You know, like
I
I need
don't
to
know
figure
what
that
my
out.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe I should have done that with my kids. Chandler.
Yasti? I
How
don't know.
does that relate to a name that's other? That would have been weird though. Anyways.
Chandelier. Oh my gosh, you're famous chandelier people.
Chandelier. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Anyways, just those little bits about Ratatouille. This isn't a movie that necessarily like I'll put on for
Mm-hmm.
my kids in terms of like I'll show it to them eventually. I don't they haven't seen it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't. It's not one that like sticks with me. A movie to see and a fun film, but
Mm-hmm.
not one that I'm like gonna come back to regularly. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Let me know how you feel about Ratatouille.
I
I
kind
think it's
of want
good.
to rewatch it. I
It's not one of those that I rewatch like Up. And not
Mhm.
like I watch Up all the time, but like I would if Up's on, I would probably sit down and watch it. If Ratatouille's on, I don't know if I'd sit down and watch it. I'd be like, I saw this movie. It was cute.
Yeah, I feel like that I was the same way with Brave. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't love it, but I did watch it, and I don't think I'll watch it again. But if it's on, I'll watch it.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. There you go.
most movies, if it's on, I'll watch it.
So we went from Coco, then we linked it to Pixar films that are standalone Pixar films with Ratatouille, as well as Inside Out. Stacy's gonna link off of Inside Out. I'm gonna link off of Ratatouille. You're welcome to go first. Or if you
Sure,
want me to, I can.
sure, I can go first. From Inside Out, and you, by the way, you don't know this link,
Okay.
and you're coming up with the second movie.
That's right. So
Yeah.
Stacey's going to say what her link is.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're in the chat, if you can give us some ideas that I could talk a movie about, because I don't know what she's going to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know what she's going to say, but she definitely does not know what I'm going to say.
Not at all.
The
Because you print out
the
my
reason
notes.
I know is because I print out her notes. Yes.
Do you look at my notes though?
I mean, I saw them today.
Okay. Well, I'm curious if you read them or you just
I
click
don't read
print.
them.
Okay. Okay, so my link is going to be from Inside Out. Riley has an imaginary friend. So there's an imaginary person in the film. And I chose movies with like imaginary people that aren't there.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go with, and this is a spoiler alert for this movie if you haven't seen it. It came out in 2001. You better have seen it. A Beautiful Mind. So
Perfect.
after John Nash, a brilliant but asocial mathematician, accepts secret work in cryptography, his life takes a turn for the nightmarish. I did not know this was directed by Ron Howard.
Really?
I had no clue. I
Hmm.
don't know why I didn't know that. I feel like I don't know Ron Howard's credits. Like I don't know anything that he's directed, but he's directed so many great things that I just accept that he's a great director, but I
Yeah.
don't know it off the top of my head.
I know a lot of his stuff, but I don't know everything. That's for
Mhm.
sure.
Like I forgot he directed Rush. I
What?
forgot he directed The
Ransom?
Da Vinci Code. Like all these like
Oh,
really
yeah.
huge
I wouldn't know the Da Vinci
movies.
Code.
Didn't I think he directed that, right?
Let's find out. Did he direct the Da
Someone
Vinci
tell
Code?
me if Ron Howard
I
directed
think he
Da
did.
Vinci
I think
Code.
you're right, but that's not something that I would like go to in my, in my brain.
That's
like
what, like
Splash.
yeah,
I
like all
go
these
to.
movies are so random. That
Mhm.
he's like Ridley Scott.
Apollo
Like
13.
everything's
Yeah.
Apollo 13. Like all these great movies that are not the same in terms of style and tone and subject matter. It totally blew me right there. Blew my mind. Ron Howard directed it. It starred Russell Crowe, Ed Harris, Jennifer Connelly, Christopher Plummer, Paul Bettany, Adam Goldberg, Josh Lucas, and a bunch of other people. It won a bunch of Oscars too. It won for Best Picture, Supporting Actress for Jennifer, Directing, and Screenplay. I thought that Russell won for this. I guess he won for Gladiator, not for this. So he won the year before, and maybe that's why he didn't win for this. But I feel like this performance was better than, or more important, I guess, than Gladiator.
Yeah, but you can't like unless those are up at the same time, you can't really compare, right? In terms of like, oh, he should have won for this over this, right?
Yeah, because you don't know what's
you don't know
gonna come out.
who else is up for it too. Like,
But I feel like that is why he didn't win, was because he won the year before.
Mm.
Like I feel like it matters what's happened in the past. Like
they'll give it to two people in a row. They did that to Tom Hanks
did they?
with
He won for-
Philadelphia and with Forrest Gump.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They'll give it to two.
Okay.
They'll give it to you in a row.
Very, very
Yeah,
rarely, but
yeah,
all right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. It's Tom Hanks. It's Tom Hanks, you guys. So this is portraying a real life mathematician, John Nash, who has won the Nobel Prize for math and came up with like the game theory and all these things that we use today and has solved equations that they hadn't known for hundreds of years. He helped them out with that, but he
Yeah.
also unfortunately suffered from schizophrenia and had extreme mental health problems and had from the pressures of the job and with the paranoia surrounded by what he did, which is in cryptography and like secrecy and state secrets and everything. It all kind of got to him and he had like a mental breakdown. So the movie is a few years in his life of portraying what can
Right.
happen when you are when you are suffering and have a mental illness and are do have mental health struggles but are not receiving the resources and the help that you need, and when the pressures can really get to you, what can happen. So let's see, there's a
The-
couple trivia about like real mathematicians that helped on the movie, but I mainly just really liked that um let's see, Jennifer Connelly beat out Brittany Murphy for this, which I can't picture her in this role as like a wife to Russell Crowe.
well,
She's too young.
just because of the age.
Yeah, she's too
Yeah,
young.
she would be too young to me as well. And it frustrates me when they miscast age wise because it's
Yeah.
just like, here's a great example. So I'm going on Action Movie Anatomy later today, and we're going to talk about Enemy of the State. And in Enemy of the State, Anna Gunn, who is the wife on Breaking Bad, plays the wife to John Voight's character. And
Ew.
until I watched it like last week, I always thought she was his assistant
Mm-hmm.
or she was his like daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue that she was supposed to be his wife.
That's way too
And
young.
yeah, and I was just like, there's a 30-year difference there. That's really
That's gross.
what are we trying for here? Like
Yeah.
what is happening here?
Also,
I
like
really had no clue.
in Mission Impossible, that like young, beautiful French woman or whatever is supposed to be his wife too. John Voight needs to stop getting young wives because he's a little creepy. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there.
But anyways, Brittany Murphy next to Russell Crowe would be
Yeah.
awkward. That would be more of like if they were two women, she would be playing his daughter. And
Yeah.
that's not okay.
Yeah.
How about that? If it's two women and the person looked like they'd be playing their daughter, I think it should be like, nope. Sorry.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Anyways.
Give an older woman a chance.
I know.
You guys.
We need to get these Renee Russos back on
Hell
screen.
yeah.
Come
oh
on.
God, I love Renee Russo so much. I just watched oh God, baseball movie. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, Tin Cup. No.
No.
For
What
the
did we
love of
just
the
watch?
game.
No.
And Renee Russo's in it?
Yeah, what
And Kevin Costner's in it too, isn't he?
no,
Oh,
no,
he's not?
no. Major League.
Okay,
We
yes.
just watched Major League and Renee
Oh
Russo's
my
in it and
God.
she's great.
What are we talking about? All right.
I did
So
also just watch Bull Durham for the first time
Oh,
a
I
couple
need to
weeks
see
ago,
that.
and
I
I
need to see
did
that.
love. Oh, you haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No, but I've heard great
you
things.
will love Susan Sarandon, and she also
Mhm.
has these little. She does like they're dancing. They're doing the thing where they do a montage of their love, know.
Yes.
And she's wearing like his like button up shirt as like a nightshirt, and she's dancing, and she has these little legs, and she's so cute, and I'm like, I want to have little Susan Sarandon and Bull Durham legs. Like she's like dancing like this. She's like do 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 do, and she has like little bitty legs, and she's just really cute. I love it.
That's hilarious.
There you go. Bull
One
Durham.
last thing about Beautiful Mind. My favorite scene is when they give the pens to him, and I'm just like,
oh, that's really yeah.
Aw. That's
Really
a cry
sad.
worthy.
Mhm.
All right, let me go to my film, which has an imaginary person, imaginary friend, imaginary
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
This
Please
is
do drop
obviously a
dead.
big spoiler. But it came out in 99, so it's
Okay.
like 99 or 98, I don't know, one of those two. So sorry, Fight Club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
Fight Club.
Okay.
It's
Good choice.
I don't think we've talked about Fight Club on this show.
Have we not?
Because you're not supposed to talk about Fight Club, right?
Yeah, that's the first rule about Fight Club.
That's why we can't talk about it.
Yeah. So let's not talk
All right,
about
let's
it.
move on. Okay.
We'll talk about it in depth one day because that's a movie that you really need to analyze everything.
You do. And I posted the picture from the movie that's like, you met me at a really strange time of my life.
Oh, yeah.
And he says that to her. And maybe we have talked about this because I remember you talking about Marla.
Oh, yeah.
But you met me at a very strange time in my life. And I'm just like, yes, I think of that sometimes when I meet a lot of people more recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you really met me at a really strange time in my life of things that I'm doing in my life and things I do at home and like who I am. And I'm like, I don't know. I still don't know who I am, you
Who
know?
I don't know who I am.
All right. Well, none of us do. We're all just
None of
trying to
us
figure
do.
it out still, right?
We're all just trying to survive with
Goodness.
health insurance and jobs,
Let's go on
cars.
to we linked from Coco, then we went to standalone Pixar films with Ratatouille, as well as Inside Out. Off of Inside Out, you went to movies with imaginary people in them with A Beautiful Mind, as well as Fight Club. And now we're going to go over to Ratatouille, and I'm linking it to. Oh, and before we do that, before we
Uh-oh.
do that, Janine said, and she said this previously, like, do you believe in the Pixar theory? Have you
What's the
heard about the
Pixar
Pixar
No, what is
theory
this?
about like how they're all linked together? There's a great video, and I don't know who put it together, but it's about the Pixar theory and how the witch in Brave is really Boo from Monsters Inc. Like as a adult, and like how she's orchestrated everything and how it all fits together. It's really quite
I'm
fascinating.
gonna need to see
It's
this
quite
video.
fascinating.
Wait, how did Boo grow up to be an adult
You're just
in
gonna you're gonna you're
300
gonna
years ago
see.
Scotland?
You're gonna find out.
I don't know,
Because
you
she
guys.
time travels. She's a time traveler.
But through the doors?
Yeah, we got to figure this out.
Oh God. Okay.
We got to
Okay.
figure this
We're
out.
we're gonna dive deep into
We
this
are.
one
I'm
day.
gonna look up that video. Maybe I'll link it below if I remember, guys. I don't know if I'll remember.
Okay,
But if
we'll
I
try.
do,
We'll try.
okay, let's go. Oh, here's what my link is. My link is food in movies, like
Okay.
food being prominent in films.
Okay.
So if you have a movie that you like that features food prominently, and it doesn't have to be about cooking or anything like
Mhm.
that. It could just be like, oh, they had this really nice feast in this part of this
Mhm.
film.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. I just got mine.
All right. So I went with Julie and Julia.
I love this movie so much.
What's interesting is, okay, so Julie and Julia, I have seen before, but I recently rewatched it because it was on TV when I was at PAX this year, which is Penny Arcade convention, which was in Seattle, and I was with my husband because he was working.
Mhm.
And so I was there with him, and it was just on television, and we just ended up watching that together. I was like, this is really interesting that you're enjoying this as well, which I was glad.
It's a feel good time,
It
you
is.
guys.
It's the first movie about like a blogger or a blog
Yeah.
series, which I really appreciate.
Mhm.
So this is came out August 7th, 2009. Julia Child's story from her start in the cooking profession is intertwined with blogger Julie Powell's 2002 challenge to cook all of the recipes in Child's first book. And she wanted to do this, I believe, within 1 year. She wanted
Wow.
to cook all of the recipes, and there's like 400,
500,
500. Yeah, it's insane.
So
And I'm like,
that's cooking more than once a day,
Yeah.
which is one more than I ever do.
Plus, I don't know how she would be able to buy all those
How does she
ingredients.
afford all
and
of
then
that?
like all the leftovers. How does that work?
I don't know how
Anyways,
she did it.
directed and adapted to the screenplay by Nora Ephron. And this was her last film. Sorry, Nora, we love you. This was had one nomination for an Oscar for Meryl Streep, also starring Amy Adams, Stanley Tucci, Chris Messina, and Linda Emond. And the budget was 40 million, made 129.5 million at the
Good
box
for
office.
you.
So great job there. Meryl Streep, in order to make her look as tall as Julia Child's like 6'2", and Meryl Streep's like 5'9".
Mhm.
So they needed to do like forced perspective. So they had to lower counters. They had to raise up certain things so that way she would look a lot bigger than she actually was. And it said Nora Ephron insisted that the actors not only ate for real, but also fully played how tasty the dishes were.
Mhm.
So if they didn't like it, they would say they didn't like it.
Oh,
So a little improv.
there
A
you
little
go.
Improv, if you
Improv
will.
101, you guys.
And this is the third collaboration between Nora Ephron and Meryl Streep. They also did Heartburn and Silkwood together. Have you seen either of those?
No.
Heartburn, I recommend. I believe it is on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, I think it's $0. Could potentially be on Netflix. Not sure about that. But a great movie with Jack Nicholson as like the counter lead to Meryl Streep, and it's just
You mean Stanley Tucci?
no, I'm talking about Heartburn right
Oh,
now.
okay, okay.
And it's just it's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking film, but a very realistic view of like what happens in a relationship and the breakdown of a relationship.
Oh, that's sad. Okay, okay.
Also, the second film to have Meryl Streep and Amy Adams together, the first one was Doubt.
Mhm. Oh, I
And there you
love Doubt
go.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt, I'm just such a strange being, and then I love to watch really intense, dark, depressing movies. So I'll watch
Mm-hmm.
Doubt on like a Tuesday afternoon if I have off
When it's
work.
raining.
When it's raining, not even
Uh-huh.
raining. If it's beautiful and sunny outside, I'm like, no, I'm gonna watch Doubt. I'm gonna watch this movie about like, a vengeful nun that's
Yeah,
trying to sniff out pedophilia. Like that's a good time, you guys. I
that
don't know
is a good
why,
time. I
but I
mean,
love it. But I love this movie. I think Meryl Streep and Stanley Tucci's relationship
I
is really
love them
sweet, and I
together.
love
They are
watching
great.
them opposite
Plus, they
from
were
The Devil Wears
also
Prada.
in Devil Wears Prada. So,
Yeah.
hey, we got some more collabs here.
Yeah, collabs.
Collabs.
We love those. Yeah, I thought they were really sweet, and I was curious as to how accurate the portrayal of their relationship and Julia Child's
Hmm.
was to the real life one.
I think it's probably because they took from her like biography and mixed it with this blogger. I think that that's pretty accurate to how their relationship was, unless in her own biography she was lying to herself.
Mm.
Very possible, by the
Mhm.
way.
And then
But
Amy Adams in the movie says, like, "Oh, we've got letters from them proving all this stuff,"
yes,
and
right.
so I'm wondering if that was
I
real.
think
Like,
that's real. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, there you go.
What is a movie that prominently features food that you would like to discuss?
Oh gosh. But this is going to be a staple of most people's childhoods. It's one of the best
Oh,
dinner
wait,
scenes
don't tell me yet, but maybe
with
give me some
kids.
other hints. Oh, Hook. Yeah.
Bangarang!
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
This is one of the best dinner scenes portrayed with kids in any movie. Of course, it starts off as an imaginary, dinner scene,
This
and
could
Peter.
work on the other end.
It could.
Imaginary things
That's right.
could
Imaginary
have worked
things.
off of a beautiful mind
We're
there.
linking everywhere, you guys.
It's all connected.
LinkedIn. So it starts off as imaginary. Peter himself, Robin Williams, doesn't understand at first because he doesn't have the imagination yet, you guys. So
Mhm.
these kids are pretending, or to him, pretending like they're eating this delicious food and all these like wonderful smells and tastes. And he's so starving. And he can't use the imagination to get to feed himself, which is like sad.
Right.
But it eventually becomes real to him, and everything is like brightly colored, which I was not expecting. I
Yes,
thought it
like
was gonna be like,
frosting. It looks like frosting.
yeah, it looks like
Everything.
it's like pink frosting, like blue mashed potatoes, all these. It's like a rainbow threw up in
Hmm.
there. It was great. So I thought that was interesting as a kid. I didn't expect that to happen. And I was like, hold on, there's like green soup. What's going on? Like I was very like, whoa, 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 whoa. This wouldn't happen. But
This does not match.
yeah, this doesn't match what I thought
Hmm.
was gonna go
Hmm.
on. But when I just find myself wanting to eat anytime I see a dinner scene. So whenever, or if I'm like, someone has like, especially when I watch a lot of period pieces, and I
Hmm.
like how people ate back in the day
Mm,
because it was
very
always
proper.
like very proper. Yeah. And they
Yes.
always ate like, had some chicken and some mashed potatoes, and you've got a little pie, and you've got vegetables. And I just want like good old food, which we
Yeah.
don't eat a lot nowadays. And so I'm always jealous of people in period pieces that have like a good meal with like boiled
You know what
potatoes.
they don't show us in period pieces?
What?
How the peasants like eat. I
They
want
eat
to see
just like
that.
bread, I
We
think.
just see like the rich people eating
Yeah.
and like are served. Someone else
Uh-huh.
worked on that and probably pretty hard. And it's
Yeah.
like, how did they even get that? Where did they go? Did they have to go out into the field and pick that potato this morning? Like
Probs.
what? We don't see all those things.
Probs.
And I
But
think about these things.
I think about the restroom situation back in the day all the
Yes.
time because there
Okay.
was no
Okay.
sewers. And in like 1600s London, the smell got so bad. They were like, guys, you can't throw all your shit in the river anymore. That's what they
Oh
did. Or
God.
they would throw it out the door, and people would get dumped on all the time with like a bucket full of piss. Isn't that the
That
grossest?
sounds terrible.
Also, okay, I'm obsessed with like bathroom habits. So whenever you went to balls, okay, like a dance, you went there. It took a long time to drive and get there, and you
Yeah.
couldn't just go home, right? Just all of a sudden. But if you had to like poop, you couldn't poop in someone else's house. Like you could maybe pee in like a little bedpan thing, but there was no place to like poop, and that was like considered rude and it was gross to like poop on
So
someone
there
else's
was a
house.
lot of
Yeah.
gastrointestinal issues that people
So
had. That's probably why they died early.
yeah,
They're like,
no,
well, we're trying to
they
hold
used
in
to
our
they
shit.
used to take things to stop themselves up so that they wouldn't
God.
have to poop. Because if you had to poop, you just had to go home, and no one wants to leave the dance and go home so they can take a shit, right? So they would just take things like stop up their butt.
No.
Isn't that gross?
That is gross. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that with us.
Yes, just
All right.
wanted everyone to
Let's
know.
wrap this up.
Okay.
We went from Coco, then
Okay.
we went somehow we got on talking about shit. We went from Coco, then we linked it to standalone Pixar films with Ratatouille as well as Inside Out. Off of Inside Out, we went to imaginary people in movies with a Beautiful Mind as well as Fight Club. Off of Ratatouille, we went to food featured prominently in film. I did Julie and Julia, and you did Hook.
There
we
you
go.
go.
One
And
film.
poop.
Linked it to 6.
All poop.
films.
Everyone.
Now you're gonna get a scene ready.
Oh, geez.
As I
I don't
it
have
to
my
Kevin
bag.
Bacon.
Where did I put my backpack?
We're not getting a scene ready.
No.
So
No.
maybe we'll just do some improv, Rocky. You can sing "Remember Me."
Sure.
I was like, because I don't know where your bag is.
Yeah.
So Kevin Bacon was in The River Wild with Benjamin Bratt, who was in Coco.
There you go.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Now it is time for Would Coco Be Better with Sylvester Stallone as Rocky.
Get your guitar out.
Get
your
as Ernesto de la Cruz.
Cruz singing. No. As Miguel singing.
As
Remember
Miguel.
Me to Coco as she is
yes.
unfortunately forgetting.
Okay, perfect.
Hector. Okay.
Ready?
All right.
I'm gonna do it this way.
Remember me, even far away. Remember me, oh, never far apart. I never think about you. I forgot the words. There you go. That's Rocky.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Singing a beautiful song.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We are off for quite some time.
Holidays.
I don't think we're coming back until after your cruise.
I don't think so either.
Think we're just gonna skip that one. So
yeah,
we'll be back in like the third week of January.
Yeah,
third week of January, guys.
It's gonna be a while, you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you.
We're gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you.
We're gonna miss everyone.
I'm gonna miss Rocky.
But we'll be back.
But mainly you. Mainly you.
Hit us up. Let us know what movie you want us to come back with.
Oh wait, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at Miss Movies, Instagram Miss_movies, and on Action Movie Anatomy today at about 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. PST.
Is that live?
Enemy of the State. It is live.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna need to watch that. You can find me on Twitter at SOHoward. No, oh shit! Every time I changed it. It's at Stacey O. Howard, no E, no I, just Y. Also on Instagram as well and Snapchat. All those things are at Stacey O. Howard.
All right.
All of them.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you
guys.
next time.
Bye. 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 Bye.